All right. Happy Friday, everybody. And thank you all for being here. My name is Sarah Strobeck, and I'm the counselor consultant and career readiness consultant at the Macomb Intermediate School District. I'm thrilled to have our wonderful partners join us today from Macomb Community College. We're going to spend some time sharing with you all the amazing opportunities that exist in the continuing education and their MTech program so that we can best equip all of our students when they make post-secondary decisions. This is worth two college sketches today, as you all know. And in my email with the connection link, I gave very specific directions as to how you can record your attendance today. So there's going to be a Google link in the chat. I've been populating it in there. It's imperative that you sign in. And then at the end of the event at 11 o'clock, Macomb is going to supply you with a very quick exit survey. We're going to use your record of that exit survey to count as your sign out. If you have any issues with the signing in or signing out, please contact me privately. I'll put my email in the chat, and on the side, we can look at what's going on. Sometimes links work or don't work, depending on the traffic. Otherwise, it's just a pleasure to have you all here. We have partners from across the Southeast Michigan region. So there's a lot of counselors joining us today outside of Macomb that get to hear about all the great opportunities that exist at Macomb Community College. So thank you all for being here today. And I appreciate your attendance and your ability to take some time and learn about the great programs at Macomb. Amy, it's all yours.
Thank you, Sarah, and good morning, everyone. Again, I want to echo Sarah's sentiments. We're so glad to have you here today. Our team is very excited to tell you a little bit more about the work that we do here at the college. I do want to take just a brief moment and recognize the good work that all of you do. I know we have counselors here, we have some teachers here, we have folks who support students in lots of different ways. And I know that with the pandemic, that has made what is already a very challenging job even more challenging. And I know that as you are trying to assist your students with finding good options, whether we're talking about a traditional student right out of high school, or perhaps you work with adult students, we know that everyone's path is different. And so we're here today to talk to you about some different options that could be great choices for your students. I suspect that many of you, if we were to chat face-to-face, would be somewhat familiar with our credit programs, probably maybe even more so than our continuing education programs. And that's why we really wanted to take the time today to help educate you a little bit more about that, because we know these can be such good options for students these days. Our goal today is to help you walk away with some very sustainable options for students who really need to change their world. I'm going to encourage you to ask questions that you have today in the chat. We have several speakers that will be coming through. Our goal is to keep this training today moving quickly and keep you engaged. And so at the end of each speaker, you'll have an opportunity to ask questions. I don't want you to save them all to the very end today. So as questions come up and you have them, drop them in the chat, and we will make sure that we get to all those for you. Next slide, please. So I want to talk a little bit about what we know about our students today. Give me a click, please. Some of you are working with very traditional age students. You're working with a high school population, whether they are looking at dual enrollment options, whether they are getting ready to graduate. You have a group of students, I suspect, who have a very concrete plan, some who have a maybe grayer plan, and some who don't even know that they need a plan right now post-high school. Next click. Some of you are working with non-traditional students, adult students who perhaps are at the point where they need to upskill, where perhaps the pandemic has caused a loss of employment and they are needing to find new work. If you are working with traditional students, we know that those students more and more are choosing to not go to college, that they are perhaps delaying college or going straight into the workforce. And as educators, well, we know that right now there are lots of jobs out there for folks, that sustainability and long-term options for our students really is tied to their level of education. And again, because we know that regardless of the population that you support, that their journey looks different for each person. Some students may need something very quick to get them out there into the workforce, to get them those skills they need. But we also know that those skills will change over time and the needs will change over time. And we really want to help you support them. Next slide, please. So I want to talk a little bit about how continuing education is different from our credit programs. And so to start, the process to get started is very different. If you've been helping a student through our credit-based program, you're used to a student submitting an application and completing some steps to be admitted in order to register for classes. On our continuing education side, that process is very different. It is very much, much more, like I like to say, like an Amazon shop. Look for what you need, put it in your cart, and get signed up right away. And so it's a very different process. And so we're going to talk to you about that today and give you some information to help support your students through that part of the process. Again, the next step that's a little bit different is that these students are earning continuing education units. So rather than credits towards a degree, they're going to be earning perhaps a continuing education certificate, an industry recognized credential, and in some cases, credits that can then articulate to our credit-based programs. Again, the length of training tends to vary for our continuing education programs. In some cases, you might be looking at weeks to earn that, complete that training, earn that credential. It might be months, but typically you're talking about something much quicker than years of training. So we know for a lot of folks today, that's a very appealing option. And that's why we thought that this, the topics today were so critical to share with you. Another piece that's important to us, and I think we all are hearing this across industry, are stackable credentials. So we know that your students may need to come in at this point and earn a credential with us, and that they might down the road, whether that road is a month or a year or 5 years, need to keep adding to their educational journey. And so we want to help them see what those stackable credentials could be and start to see us as a place of support that can help build their career path. And really, we want them to return to us throughout their career. Our goal is that they see us as a resource over the lifetime of their career. As a county resource, we really pride ourselves on continuing to serve the folks in our community, and we want them to think about us that way. And part of that is helping us help them understand that. One of the things I wanted to do to start out is to share a brief video from one of our colleagues, Ellen Lux, to talk a little bit more about that long-term relationship that we really want to develop with you and your students.
Hello, my name is Ellen Lux, and I am the director of our workforce and continuing education programs for business and information technology. Another hat I wear at the college is to lead our Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship, where we help small businesses get their start. And you know, combining these two areas together, I see such a rapid state of disruption and renewal, including our recent pandemic-created shifts, technological advancements, and new business model innovation. And when Amy asked if I could say a few words today, it made me think of this growing need for constant skill development to be successful in just about any occupation. Our workforce programs, and you'll be hearing all about those today, offer short-term skills training that helps students learn to earn. And our programs fit students in many different phases of life. So could be the high school graduate who prefers to work instead of starting a degree program, or maybe just needs a little more time to figure out the field of study or career path they're most interested in. The adult worker who's dreaming of a different career or was possibly displaced during the pandemic and is seeking a new job opportunity. And the student who might be sensitive to accumulating debt and wants to learn to earn and then return to the college while working in a higher wage position and take classes toward that degree. No matter the student, we have a wide variety of skills-based programs to help them on their lifelong learning journey, and we're really excited to share those with you today. So if you picture a cycle of student learning, this is something that I think really kind of puts a picture around what we see, and that circle fits our college mission so nicely, which is to transform lives through the power of education, enrichment, and economic development. And so Macomb provides options for every learner, whether it be in the career technical fields or in our traditional degree programs, or both. And we're excited to help students figure it out. Like, what is it that they're dreaming of? What is that perfect future for them? How can they learn more? By playing with us in workshops, in our enrichment programs, possibly some of our shorter term classes. Learn a skill in our skills-based programs that lead to earning a higher wage, and then return to the college time and again to transform their lives and realize that better future. We're thrilled that you could join us today to learn more about our programs, and we're also hoping that we can learn more from you how we can better fit the needs of your student. So thanks for taking the time, and I look forward to working with all of you in the future. Hello.
Okay, so today, what you can expect from us in the next hour or so. We are going to start by exploring the programs that make up our continuing education area. One thing I want to note is that if you are trying to learn more about these programs, know that we don't have a centralized continuing education department. So the folks that you are going to see here on screen today are going to be key contacts for you if you want to connect a student to one of those programs or you yourself want to learn more about them. And so as part of the follow-up, we're going to make sure you get that information. So we're going to highlight today 3 different areas at the college: our engineering and advanced technology programs, our Center for Health Careers and Dental Assisting, and our business and information technology programs. Our goal, as you are hearing about these programs, some of which you may have no idea what they do, what those programs mean, but our goal is that as you are learning more about them, that you will begin to see pictures of the students in your mind that might fit really well into those options, that you might hear a little something that reminds you or resonates with you and the students that you serve, and begin to see the potential of where those students could file right in and could fit so well into these great options. So you'll have all those great contacts today. You're going to have a chance to hear from a couple of our students who have completed these programs. And I think that's so important to hear a little bit about their journey. And again, see pieces there that will help you see that might parallel your students' experiences and begin to help you see good fits for your students. So important for continuing education programs because at this time they are not federally financial aid eligible. Funding is a key piece. And so we're going to talk about some different ways that students can fund those programs, because we know for many that's a barrier. And certainly it's our goal at the college to make sure that we are recognizing and looking for those barriers and finding ways to help students overcome them. And then finally, we're going to help you know how to get a student started. I hope that you leave here energized and excited and ready to get some students going in these programs. And we want to give you the tools to be able to say, here's a great option for you, and here's what you can do to get started today. Next slide, please. Because this is the last time you're going to see my face today, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what you can expect on Monday morning after you hopefully have a nice, refreshing weekend. You will be getting some outreach from us in the form of an email. That's going to be as follow-up from this event. So one thing we will be doing is we are recording this event. So we're going to make sure you have access to the recording of that once that's uploaded. We are going to make sure that you have contact information for every speaker that you see today, and their favorite part, their picture, so that you can remember who you saw today. We know for its students, the difference sometimes in their educational experience is having a singular point of contact that made a difference for them. And we know that can be the same for you. So we want you to have these faces and names and numbers and emails so you can reach out as you have questions. That will be coming your way. The event we're providing for you today is kicking off a little bit of I guess I'll call it a series of events that we're going to be doing on continuing education this spring and over the summer. And those upcoming events are really going to be geared for students. So if you have a student that you feel would really want to learn more about it, we're going to have events coming up that they can come and learn more about the programs. And so we're going to tell you a little bit about that as well in the communication we send to you. And then finally, one of the last pieces you'll get today is going to talk a little bit about how to get that student, find the course, put it in their cart, get signed up. And we're going to do that at a really high level. I don't want to overwhelm you with the details of that process. It's not that hard, I promise you. But we are going to send you a follow-up, like a PDF page that has step-by-step directions, really clear-cut, really easy. So don't feel like you have to take copious notes on how to do that. You're going to get those directions on Monday morning, and you'll be able to share that out with students and keep it as a resource for yourself as well. So with that said, I am so excited to pass this off to my colleague, Patrick Rouse, and to let us get started learning more about engineering and advanced technology. Thanks, Patrick, and welcome.
Well, thank you for that lovely introduction, Amy, and appreciate all the information you provided. And good morning, everyone. It's lovely to meet all of you. I can see some of your faces on the little screen there, so it's wonderful to see you. Look forward to being able to chat and service really all of you and your students better as we move forward. If you can go to the next slide for me, please. So my little portion of this, I'm going to talk a little bit about our industry approach, and then also talk about our short-term accelerated programs, which is probably going to be the most of interest. As Amy mentioned, within our college, our continuing ed programs and workforce development are really separated into three parcels. You heard from my colleague, Ellen Lux, just a moment ago. There's directors of each area in engineering and advanced tech, business and information technology, and health and public service. But I will tell you this, even though you're going to hear from different departments today, realistically, if you reach out to any one of us, we'll be able to help you. I want you to think, well, who do I talk to? I need to talk to this person about this program. At the end of the day, we work very, very collaboratively. And if you reached out to any one of us, we'd be able to make sure you are taken care of. You can go to the next slide. So within our department, we really pride ourselves in providing training for individuals and industry at the pace of technological advancement. The only way we're able to do this is by listening and engaging with industry to develop or create customized training that meets their needs. And what that does is allow us to create a pathway for individuals to enter into high demand jobs. Next slide. So for us, a pathway to success looks something like this. Short-term training, and we're going to talk about how short and how long and all that good stuff in a moment. Then it leads right to gainful employment. From there, we really position ourselves as well as the students and the programs that they're participating in to promote this idea that you don't just end with this job. This is going to get you in there with the job, and then you need to be prepared that this environment of advanced technology is not something that you can just learn something today and then you're all set. It's something that you're going to have a continued lifelong education through. We also create clear pathways to a degree. So although we're talking about short-term certifications today, most of for instance, the mechatronics programs that we have, those variations that we're going to offer you or talk about today, all of those have, articulate over to some sort of credit so that the student gets a jump on their long-term, associate's or bachelor's interests. So for instance, most of the programs that we're going to be talking about on that automated systems areas receives 8 credits right off the bat starting in the fall. Next slide. So these numbers or stats are really important probably to you as well as parents as well as the students. So we'll talk a little bit about this. The programs that I'm going to be going through both on the robotics or the mechatronics side all the way down to marine maintenance technician, a new program we launched last year, and even truck driving. We have extremely high completion rates, well above 80%. The reason we're able to do that is one, they're short term. So it's a little easier to get through that versus a 2 to 3 to 4 year commitment. Secondly is because the college supports the student from the full weight of the college, if you will. So we have tutoring services, we have support structures in place, and we really do everything we can to help the student get through those short-term accelerated programs. Our job obtainment rates are usually well above 83%. We have one program that actually has 100% gainful employment within 3 months. 74% of those students that we have across the board are still employed with their employer 1 year later. So not only do they get the job, but they stay in that job and they start seeing that opportunity to move up throughout their career. Average starting wages for all the programs I'm going to talk about today are 15 to 27. That's a pretty big range, but I will tell you as we go along, which ones have the higher wage, which ones start at the lower ranges. Most of them start at that 15 to 18. We have some really great programs that start at that $20 an hour to 27. And then just to give you some rough ideas, after the students are in the program or in the job, in their environment, they quickly exceed that range. This is a recent 2019 Controls Tech program graduate. They're making $75,000 plus overtime. We actually were hoping to have that student here today to be able to speak to you. and he's working a lot, so he just couldn't make it. But we will be able to answer any questions for you for sure for that. Next slide, please. So the way that we come up with a lot of these programs is really a collaboration of a variety of things. And first and foremost is our collaboration with our regional and state partners. You see up there in the top left. We work very, very closely with our county development and planning and economic development departments. Michigan Works in our regions, all of them in our region, from Oakland County down to Macomb, St. Clair, down even to Wayne County. And then our regional partnerships like SEMCOG and WIN. And then nationally, we look for continuous support for our types of programs from the Department of Ed, Department of Labor. As Amy mentioned earlier, right now at this moment, a lot of the programs I'm going to speak to you about do not have support mechanisms from a financial component like financial aid, standard financial aid, or the Pell Grant. However, those things are actually in the works at the federal level, even at the state level. So, and even locally here. So those things are in the works, but we do have a variety of funding opportunities, which you're going to probably hear a little about throughout the day today, that provide really a complete coverage for the programs, 100% coverage for students. And I would say somewhere around 80% of our students take advantage of those. And they don't have to go out and find them. We actually help them do that. So they just come to us, and then we talk to them about how they can get funding for these things. And we really provide a white glove service. And some of my staff are actually on the call today, and they will attest to that. They do a wonderful job at that. Some of the businesses that hire our graduates, I just named a couple. We have quite the few. We work with somewhere around 350 businesses annually. But these are just some that you probably recognize, GM, and you'll hear some of my colleagues speaking from healthcare and Ascension. We have some small to medium-sized companies too, like Drake and Proper. So those are just some highlights for you, if you will. Stellantis or previously FCA, is a big, huge partner with us as well, and hired quite a few of our graduates over the last couple of years. You can go to the next slide. I'm going to pause here. Do we want to stop for any questions? Did anything come up yet?
We do have a question about where the programs are. I'm going to drop a link in the chat, Patrick, to your EAT page on the website.
Yeah, great. And just to respond to that, most of our programs that I'm going to be speaking about today are housed out of our Michigan Technical Education Center, which is on Tank Avenue in Van Dyke, which is just north of 696 on Van Dyke. Most of our automated systems, in fact, we're probably going to be moving truck driving there. And then Marine Maintenance Tech is held at South Campus at the M building, right next to the automotive area. Great question. So the program dynamics, everything we come up with, all of our programs are not just something that we thought was a great idea. We use advisory boards. Those advisory boards are made up of our external stakeholders, such that I spoke to a few minutes ago, which would include Macomb County, Michigan Works offices, as well as the MEDC. There's a representative that participates as well. And then the bulk of our advisory boards are made up of business representation in that area or that field. So we make sure that the marketing of the program, the funding of the program, as well as the programmatic components of the program are meeting what the industry is needing. Then we look at national and regional trends. So I say national because obviously not everyone's going to stay here in Michigan. So we want to make sure that we're being mindful of any national trend and certification that needs to be included so that they can move to another state if necessary. We hope they stay here, obviously. But if they did, we want to make sure that they have a recognizable credential across the nation. And then lastly, any regional employer needs that we hear from, we take consortiums of employers and we meet with them and say, what is it that you're looking for? What's your needs right now? Where's your pressure points? And then let's make something that works for you and create that pipeline. I saw another question come up, Amy, if you don't mind. I don't want to go on and miss it. So
yep, no problem. So the question, do out-of-county students pay the same for continuing education courses as in-county students?
Great question. They do. So we don't have a district or regional component. That's something that stays the same for our region. Next slide. Okay, so as Amy mentioned before, we have stackable credentials as well as pathways to degrees. So for instance, on our automated systems programs or our mechatronics, the mechatronics variations, if you will, it starts with a core set of classes that our industry said is absolutely necessary for everybody to enter into these jobs. So we start with those, and they can be very fundamental courses. We have a range and the boundary of the course, but then if students come in, we have a great assessment kind of mechanism to help the students and to determine what other support components they need to make sure that they reach not only the outcomes, but the core fundamentals. And then from there, they start to splinter off into their specialities, and I'll get into what those programs are. Finally, most of our programs have some sort of pathway into a degree. They all will come with certifications from Macomb Community College. They all will come with some sort of third-party nationally recognized certification, if not multiple. Some of them, like our robot technician program, has multiple certifications. Our marine maintenance technician has multiple certifications. In fact, I think the only one that doesn't have multiples is our truck driving, because that comes with the state CDL. They get that right when they graduate. And then a Macomb certification as well. So there's a variety of things that we put with or give them or provide them to ensure that they're meeting the demands of industry and actually give them a leg up in their opportunities there. Go to the next slide. And Amy, please interrupt me if I miss a question or anything like that.
Can I give you one of my own questions?
Yeah.
I didn't put it in the chat. So when you think about the different types of programs that you offer, the different skill sets that it requires, in your mind, is there a student, what type of students are most successful in your programs? Is there something they bring inherently? Is there something they're interested in? Is it something they're open to? Could you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, that's a great question, because people think about engineering advanced tech and they tend to get a little nervous. They think engineer, which is, 4-year degree, typically a master's degree, things like that, very theory based, a lot of calculus, things like that. And they get kind of nervous. The reality is, if they are interested in the interaction between hardware and software, if they're interested in just being connected to environments like, automation that it can span almost every single industry, from food preparation to automotive and electric vehicles. If they're interested in anything like that, this is their program. They don't really have to have a background in any of these things. They don't have to have a technical skill set. Yes, that person works on cars every day and they're going to be a perfect fit for it. Actually, it's open to the gambit, and it's very different. And you're going to see in this quick little video, it's very different than what people probably think it is. We start from the fundamentals. So we've had people come in that didn't really know a whole lot about a screwdriver, and we were able to successfully get them through the program. And it did take a little bit of additional support just to get them wrapping their head around the fundamentals. But by all means, you can get through these programs, and it's more that interaction with hardware and software. Even our marine maintenance technician, oddly enough, when you take a boat in to get service nowadays, they're typically grabbing a laptop and hooking that boat engine up to that laptop. So we teach them how to do that and the tools that they need to do that as well. Now, hopefully that answered your question, Amy. All right, if you'll go ahead and play the video. This is a quick snippet of some of the programs that we offer.
This is the Michigan Technical Education Center, or we refer to it as the MTech building. This is where we do all the non-credit training, which falls under the Macomb Community College's Workforce and Continuing Education. We have various different types of training. We have 4 main programs that we do for skilled trades, which is the robot programmer, the robot technician program, the controls technician, and the industrial maintenance technician. We also offer the marine tech program that's going to be geared around the marine industry, where our students will come in and they'll be able to work on inboard, outboard engines. These are fast track type programs where students can come through. They can get certified in these programs within 5 weeks, 10 weeks, 16 weeks, and hopefully by the end of that program, be interviewed by your employer and have a job. Not only can we provide students with the trainers that you see that are done in training facilities, the smaller trainers, but we have real live equipment. We have actual manufacturing cells with real live robots, the actual diagnostics, all the equipment, conveyors, tooling, everything you see in the industry. We have that on an industry level where the students can take what they do in the classroom or on a small trainer and translate that over into our main manufacturing cells that you would actually see in one of the big three plants or at a tier one supplier. We treat our training like you're on the job. So you come in from 8 to 5, programs run back to back continuously, 40 hours a week, 5 days a week from Monday through Friday. If you cannot make the days because, hey, I got a job during the day and, I can only make the evenings, students can come in from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. So they can come 4 hours in the evening, 20 hours a week for 5 days a week. Again, it's like they're on the job. Before you even start the robot programmer, robot technician, controls technician, or industrial maintenance technician, you have to do the active placer assessment and also complete the 3 courses which are in the Manufacturing Essentials program.
You can go to the next slide. We love showing what it looks like inside of our facility over there. And so that video is great for that. We have, a lot of times, people think about they have, some sort of robot, 1 or 2, and we have a replica of a manufacturing facility. So our facility is just jam packed with trainers as well as, full, I say full size, car size robots as well to really get them give the students a hands-on feel of what they're going to walk into. And what you heard just a moment ago from one of our faculty is that we also offer the programs commonly in a 40-hour-a-week kind of scenario. And what this does is it shows the employer that the student can actually come in and work and train for 40 hours a week. That was actually one of the big things that employers said they wanted to see is the commitment level from the potential employee, that they can come in there and be there 40 hours a week. What they're starting to see is that's a struggle in a lot of industries. So we actually provide that. We say, hey, they were here. This is, that student this is the program. They're here 40 hours a week. And attendance is actually part of the 3 components of successfully completing each course. So we have attendance, time in labs, and then obviously your grades on all your, corresponding quizzes and tests and things of that nature. So there's a competency-based, attendance-based, as well as the theory-based, all connected, tied together. I want to stop here just because I see a lot of movement in chat. Amy, is there any questions that I can answer?
Yes, so we have a question about the average age of students in these programs, as well as the student to teacher ratio.
Okay, great questions. So the average age is tough one just because we tend to span quite a bit. But I would say the number one age group that we have is 18 to 24. Right after that, it's 24 to 35, 25, 35. And then we have, a plethora of those students thereafter. Rarely do we have, a significant, that 16, is typically rare just because they're still in high school. It's usually right after that high school. We are looking at working with the high schools even more to kind of get that more progression through there. So I would say at this point, that probably answers your question. Teacher to student ratio is really based on the hands-on availability of equipment. So for instance, in a lab setting, we don't like to see more than 2 to 3 people per trainer or robot. So we've expanded just recently. We've purchased somewhere around $2 million worth of equipment to lower the ratios again. During COVID, we were still open, still doing training. We opened back up in June in the height of the pandemic with massive, safety protocols. And we were successfully able to navigate all of that. But to do so, we had to add additional equipment to bring that ratio of equipment to student down. And we're very successful at doing that at this point. And we keep that down to somewhere around, like I said, 2 to 1. some classes may end up seeing 3 just because of the dynamics of the collaboration between that course. In our courses, to give a student to faculty ratio, we typically do not exceed 18. Usually it's 12 to 15. Again, depends on the course and the safety protocols that we need to follow within that course. If we have, a course that's classroom based, we have gone up to 30, but that's rare. It's very rare. That means that we have a whole slew of programs that are just totally tapped out. Typically, you'll see a class like that around 20 to 24. And that, again, it's mostly classroom based. They're just doing something on their laptops. And then anything that goes out into the equipment, when we're starting to get into anything training on that, which is the bulk of what we offer, you start seeing 12 to 15 per every instructor. Hopefully that answered your question. Was there any other questions I can answer, Amy?
One question folks had asked about the video that you showed, we will share that link out. I think we pulled that from YouTube. So that link will be in the follow-up that we sent you, so you won't have to search for it. Another question that just came in is if there is support for individuals with English language barriers.
You betcha. So we've just know that there is, whether it means that we either have a tutor to be able to assist them, or whether it means that that they, maybe they want to take an ESL class, English as a second language class. It's up to them, but we will provide that support. In fact, in the video, I talked about Accuplacer. We actually worked with a lot of partners to remove the Accuplacer as a requirement. So we do an assessment now, and that assessment includes writing and English abilities. And so we then, from that assessment, then provide the necessary support structures to help the student through. Hopefully that answered your question.
I think so. I'm going to put a call out if anybody has any other questions. One of the things I just wanted to point out, Patrick, about this slide, which I love, is I hope that those of you who are watching are looking at how quickly these programs can be completed. So if you have a student in a position who needs to get to work quickly, financially maybe in that situation, if you have a student who just wants to be done with high school and can't fathom the idea of continuing with any further education, these are quick options that can really get them into sustainable, pay and work and options for future growth. And I think that can be so important when you have someone who maybe just isn't sure what their next step should be. Another question about supports for students with disabilities.
Yeah, again, the same thing. That's a great question. Whatever the student needs are, whether it be learning, whether it be language, whether it be a disability that we just need to support all along the way. As long as there's, a way to support that student, we do. And so we definitely, we will go above and beyond to really help the student through these programs, that's for sure. And that's been very successful for us. And that's why we have such high graduation rates and participation rates. As you can see, as Amy mentioned here, our programs range from on the automated systems. These are all automated system pieces. So mechatronic pieces for those that are in CTE. We have robot programmer, robot tech, industrial maintenance tech. So you have the robot programmer, that's pretty self-explanatory. The robot tech, those are the folks that are actually taking care of the robots. That's probably our most popular program. But I don't know, but on the hiring side, it'd be a toss-up for all of these, but definitely from a student side, they like the idea of actually working on the robots. Industrial maintenance tech would be anybody that's looking long-term to be a plant manager. This is the entry level for that. And then controls technician is our highest end. That's when you start getting into PLCs. Again, those who are in the CT environment will understand that. Programmable logic controllers and HMI. That's just the cool little device there. If you look in that picture, that interacts with the robot. So it's just that interaction. HMI means human machine interface. So we train them on all of those. So pay ranges on the robot programmer would be 15 to 18. Robot tech and industrial maintenance tech would be starting wages 18 to 20. Again, once they're in for a year, they're making great wages beyond that. And controls tech is our highest paid. We're seeing averages from 20, and that was really an interesting couple students just at the beginning. They just quickly got a job. It was $20 an hour, but we see upwards around 27 is 25 to 27 is typical. And that's, again, starting wages, no previous education, just high school, sometimes not even high school, because we have some adult learners that's, struggled citizens coming back into the community, dealing with all kinds of historical educational issues. And so we've seen, people come in and we give them the support structures, and then they graduate and on to a wonderful, wonderful job. So that should give you some time, some examples. Just as another reference, again, funding, we have a plethora of funding options out there. There's the young adult programs. Again, I know we're going to talk a little bit more about funding opportunities later, but funding shouldn't be a stopper, and typically isn't. We usually will work with the student and our external stakeholders to find opportunities for them. And we have amazing grants here within Macomb County going on right now. You'll hear a little bit more about here in the future, and to help people get into these programs. If there's no other questions here, I'll go on.
We got one more question. I do just want to add one piece. Part of the follow-up we will also include next week. We'll give you a video and a web page that talk about all the student support resources that we have across the college. Regardless of the program that a student's pursuing, we have so many people whose full-time job is to help support your students and help them overcome barriers. So we will share that as well. Last question that's here, Patrick, and I won't take any more so that we can keep moving to the next speaker soon, is whether students can dual enroll in these programs while they're still in high school.
Great question. Not at this time, but we are always looking for that opportunity. One of the key, and I was actually, I may have been with some of you up in Grand Rapids not too long ago at the conference there at the end of January. One of the things that was brought out by the state and about Perkins funding and all that is really that there has to be a tie to a degree. And so we're even though we have articulation credit on all of these, the question is that enough? And so we're working with MISD to determine that. We have a program that we'll be talking about in just a second, the Marine Maintenance Technician program, which actually may end up being our first little go around for that, because it has one unique ability to our region. And then Ferris State said they may offer articulation to the 4 years. So there could be a dual enrollment opportunity there. We're working through those issues, and we love working with Shannon over at MISD, and we're looking forward to providing more opportunities as they come available. So we just got to work through those disciplines, but not at the moment, but we are working on it. If we can go to the next slide then. All right, so throughout all of our programs, we definitely heard from industry, and they said, hey, we need more than just technical proficiency. We need some soft skills that are included in this. So some of you may recognize this term, critical competencies, by the author Eric Senninger. He was actually in K-12 environment before he got into speaking, helping with higher ed as well. He identified in his book, Digital Leadership, 9 critical competencies that are necessary for the future. And so we actually grabbed that. I loved that idea. I loved what he was saying in there, and I totally supported that. So we actually sprinkled the 9 critical competencies throughout our entire programs, from creativity down to entrepreneurship. And if you go to the next slide, including globalization or global awareness. And then real big one here is digital media literacy and digital responsibility, citizenship, and footprint. That leads right into this other thought that we have. All the students that take those 4 programs I just referenced, as well as the Marine Maintenance Technician program, one of the key issues for us when we looked and spanned the industry over the last couple of years is the digital divide. And I think all of us have heard that term. At the end of the day, it's, there's a divide between those who have capital access to have a digital device in their house that can be useful for long-term education or work proficiency. And so what we did is we went out and garnered some funding, and we continuously garner funding to be able to provide free laptops to every student that takes those programs. So it's not part of the tuition. It's not part of anything. It's literally our gift to them. And it's not a digital device like a Chromebook. It's a digital device that will actually run all the programs that we offer within our highest technical field. So it's something that they can use not only for today, but long-term. Our cost is about $1,500 for that laptop. So if you kind of gauge that, it'll run, RS Logics and, all the robo guides and all of that and the above. So it's something that they'll be able to use long-term for their own benefits, but also to be able to really promote their long-term education and workforce placement. You go to the next slide. So there's my slide. I just talked about that. You can go to the next slide. The last two programs I'm going to just mention in our department, they're very, very popular, is the Marine Maintenance Technician program. Here we think about, all the water, all the times that we all love to be outside. I know if we all look outside right now, it's slightly sunny outside. It's a little deceiving. It's colder than it looks like, but we all looking forward to the days that are coming when spring and summer. I heard this year summer's on a Thursday, by the way. And so we're all looking forward to being outside and outdoors and enjoying that weather here. And one of the things that a lot of times we overlook is the support mechanisms that are necessary for that for that environment. So the marinas across the state came to us and said, we need a boating maintenance school. Now there's a school up in the UP that actually helps build boats, but they don't really have anything from the technical side outside of a dual enrollment that they have with their local school. And there wasn't anything for anything in the state of Michigan, and there hasn't been. Everybody sends their technician training over to Wisconsin or down to Florida. So the marinas were to the point where they were going to have to start closing because they didn't have labor. So they came to us and said, would you please start something? So we garnered everything we could, and we started a program, and it's called the Marine Maintenance Technician. It's an entry-level program, gets them in the door to a marina. This is year-round work, really important to premise that even though summer was on a Thursday this year, it's year-round work. They're going to work on everything from small engines all the way up to eventually they'll be trained on diesel and that type of thing, depending on the marina. Most of the folks that go on beyond just the starting wages are making somewhere in that $25 to $35 an hour wage. So it's a good sustainable wage for long-term growth, long-term opportunities. And all the marina technicians all talk about the wonderful environment they're in. I mean, they're playing around with boats, they're on the water, they get to do all these fun things in a wonderful environment. So very, very exciting. We started that actually during COVID. We launched the program in November. We were supposed to launch it in April in 2020. Obviously, we had issues there. And we launched it in November. We have 100% gainful employment with that program. And it's been a real winner for everybody that's looking to get into it. And then our truck driving school, lately, it's been probably the most interested activity for us. There's a lot of truck driving schools in our region. And what the college decided to do is based on the absolute need for this area. And because there's a lot of for-profit institutions, not beating up anybody, but there's some good, some bad. We said, well, we need to have something that has some checks and balances to ensure that people are coming out with their training, to ensure that they're not just churning out folks, and to ensure that people are getting proper job placement. There was also a new law that went into effect this year that said that people cannot obtain a CDL without professional training. So with those two pieces together, we said we're going to launch a truck driving school. And we did so again during the pandemic, which is a little hairy, but it is become a booming program for us. It's 4 weeks long. They come out with their CDL. They come out with a couple of certifications as well, and they go into immediate job placement. I mean, I would say it always happens this way, but most of the time it's Friday they complete the training and Monday they have a job. So it's that high in demand. It's, truck driving is one of the top demand jobs here in the States. I think 7,000 openings projected over the next couple of years. So something very, very good. You can go to the next slide. With that, I have completed my area. If there's no other questions, I'm going to turn it over to our colleagues in health and public service. Amy, I just want to double check before I leave here. I will be staying on just in case there's another follow-up question, but before I sign off, is there any other questions for my area?
I think we've covered them all. Thank you, Patrick.
Great, thank you. Lori, it's all yours.
Thank you, Patrick. Hi, everyone. I am Lori Riggs, as the slide says, and I'm from the Center for Health Careers. Go to the next slide. Thank you. And today I'm going to be talking to you about our short-term programs through the Center for Health Careers. These are programs that are associated with careers where employers are ready to hire our students. Same as Patrick just talked about, we have employers that are waiting. For instance, nursing assistants. I'm sure many of you are aware, nursing assistants out in the field, they can't get enough. and we can't train those students fast enough for the industry and what they're looking for. Our certifications in these programs are recognized out in the industry. And by that, I mean, for instance, our nursing assistant. This nursing assistant program is required by the state of Michigan. A qualified program is required, right? And then they have to take an exam and then become certified to work as a certified nursing assistant. So that's what we mean by industry recognized. Another example of that would be our phlebotomy program. While our program prepares our students to complete the exam for the registered phlebotomy technician through the American Medical Technologists, that is not required in the state of Michigan to get a job. What is required is 100 draws, and our students get that from their internship in our program. So they are ready to go out there and work once they get done with our program. Our class schedules, mostly our classes are offered in the evening. We do have a day option for our nursing assistant and also a weekend in the fall we offered, and it has run every semester in the fall, meets Friday evenings and all day Saturday for 10 weeks. And our students, we have many students that take that opportunity to do that program. Our faculty, our professionals or experts that are out there working in the field. So they're either working in the field or they're professionals that teach our programs. So health career training in 9 months or less, that's what we're talking about. Short-term training, 2 semesters or less. As this graphic shows, our programs can be divided in people-centered or business-centered. So many students, they want to work in the area of health, but they're not really comfortable with caregiving or the hands-on care of people. So there's still opportunities for them, right, in the business-centered programs. Most of our people-centered programs require an internship. And hopefully this slide will help you, to communicate with the students, whether they like people or they'd rather work with paper. They will see people, obviously, in this coding or the billing programs, but it's not like hands-on care of folks. Our 1 semester programs, here we've listed our program length, the amount of courses, and the type of credential that they'll get with each of these programs. Right now we're offering, we found new ways to offer these programs through the pandemic actually, but currently we're offering our nursing assistant is hybrid. That means remote, online, remote, and then in the lecture and for the lab, they are on ground, and in clinical, they're out in a clinical setting. Our home care is kind of a unique program. It is 2 courses. However, we tell our students, because the first course to this home care assistant program is the nursing assistant lecture lab class. So we recommend to our students that they get a dual certificate so that they complete our nursing assistant program, then add on the 6-hour class for home care assistant. So that will make them marketable. And we know, students get out there, they think they want to be a nursing assistant, any of us, and we're marching down that road, we're working, and then life happens. And then we're faced with having to work in a different way. Home care offers that. And so then they'll have marketability for 2 things. certified nurse assistant, and a home care assistant. So that's what we recommend to our students. The certified fitness trainer right now is virtual. Actually, it's hybrid with a virtual component. And then our students are going to a gym to work, and also an internship. Our phlebotomy program is and has been on ground. It's 100% on ground. Also, someone asked about age previously, and I just wanted to mention that nursing assistants in the state of Michigan can be from 16 on up. However, we always want our students to know that within 2 years, you need to work 8 hours as a nurse assistant in order to recertify or re-up that certificate for nursing assistant. So we would encourage our students to hold off until maybe 17 or 18, but they can become licensed as young as 16 years of age. Next slide. Our 2-semester programs run through the summer as well. So for instance, if our student begins our program, one of our programs in the winter semester, and want to finish it, they'll be able to finish that in the summer semester. They won't need to wait until the fall semester. Our certified professional coder and our certified medical reimbursement specialist, or our billing program, they both consist of 5 courses. Now, those 5 courses include 2 prerequisite classes. Those 2 prerequisite classes are both the same for each program. They are a Microsoft Office class and a medical terminology class. The medical terminology and the Microsoft Office classes have opportunities for on-ground class instruction, but the rest of the program for each of these are delivered virtually. And then the laboratory assistant program this summer will be on ground for lecture, lab, and then they will be doing an internship. Now, our internships, so many of our programs that are people-centered require internship. And our internship partners require that our students do a physical, they provide a TB test, and they also do health screening, which includes vaccinations. Some of the vaccinations include the flu shots, if we're in flu season, the MMR, those types of vaccinations, and also the COVID vaccination. Additionally, our students must complete a criminal background check and a 10-panel drug screen. Now, those students that we have come into our program that have a medical marijuana card and test positive for marijuana, they will not be able to participate in the program. The healthcare industry does not recognize medical marijuana card. Articulation agreements. So articulation agreements here from in the area of health include both courses and programs. As you'll see from this slide, the first opportunity is medical terminology. So we require that course for our lab assistant, our coding, and our billing program. And that can also, our students can earn credit on the academic side for medical terminology when they decide to take a program on the credit side. Additionally, we have programs. So if our students complete the pharmacy technician program through the Center for Health Careers, they're eligible for 2 credits in the MAST 1811. Now that class is within the medical assistant program, so they do have an opportunity to get credit from that. I also want to bring it to your attention that we at Macomb offer credit for prior learning for certifications. And what do I mean by that? So our certified professional coding program trains our students to complete the certified professional coding exam through the American Academy of Professional Coders, or the AAPC. Now, when students complete that exam successfully and get their A designation or apprentice designation removed, they become CPCs, or Certified Professional Coders. When they reach that designation, they are eligible then for 7 credits in the Health Information Technology program at the college. You can find that information by going to the Credit for Prior Learning page and then selecting the certifications. As everybody, Patrick and Amy have already said, this is a great place to start. Choose your pathway. Short-term training, as you can see in this graphic, they can start, they can get a job, they can continue on to more education. We have a unique position in the Center for Health Careers. That would be an occupational coordinator. Currently, our occupational coordinator is Elizabeth Gargano, and she works directly with our students. And she works with them, assisting with the barriers to success. And a lot of the barriers that we already discussed, both Patrick and Amy. She's also our link between the students and our employers to get jobs. So our employers communicate with her when they are in need of jobs, which they all are. They're, knocking on her door regularly. And she will send those job opportunities out to our students in order to connect them. So our short-term training in health. Why choose short-term training at Macomb? Well, these are areas that the students can train in a short amount of time. They can try it out. Many of our students, they're not really sure what they want to do. And so they can try this area of health out. They can stay in the position. They can get a job, they can work, or they can change their mind, take another opportunity if that one doesn't suit them, and they can advance in the area of health as well by taking the degree programs. Also, while they're working, they can network, right, with their employees, the other employees. When they get hired in a health system, there is the gamut of opportunities for careers there. They'll see many different careers. And maybe, like something else to be able to come back and get more education or change their career. Additionally, many of the employers or companies offer tuition assistance. So while they are working, then they can continue their education, and many times the companies will pay for them. So with that, it's a great way to break into a career in health. I don't know if there's any questions.
Lori, I don't see questions in the chat, but I always have questions I would like to ask. So similar to what I asked Patrick, I'm kind of thinking if I'm as a counselor here, do my students have to have kind of been pursuing a health career in high school to come into these programs and be successful? Or can you tell us a little bit more as well about the types of students that might do really well in programs like this?
Right. So no, actually, they don't have to be pursuing a health. They don't have to be in HOSA. They don't have to be geared toward health in order to, they have to show an interest, right? If you have students that are caring, they care about people. That's what our faculty, our full-time faculty in the nursing assistant program always says. If you care about people, I can train you. So those students who care about individuals and the care that they receive, we can train them. Additionally, maybe they don't want, like I said earlier, maybe they don't want, to take care of people, or they don't like the sight of blood for a phlebotomist, right? Oh no, couldn't stand that. Well, then there's billing, or coding. Both of those areas are in the areas of health, and they're more behind the scenes. Although, a biller may talk to patients, they're not giving the care that the others would. So no, if they haven't shown an interest, they still may be interested.
Perfect. Thank you. I do want to put out a call if anybody else has questions for Lori to throw those in the chat. And I think one of the great things about these continuing education programs is if you have a student maybe who's, not sure and needs to talk to someone, because you're going to have these direct contacts, your students can reach out and talk to our folks in the department and kind of talk through some of those things they're trying to, figure out and what's the right fit for them. They don't have to look at the list and say, this is the one I want to pursue. They can say, I'm interested in something on this list and I don't know, and talk to our staff and kind of help come to that, decision by working with someone at the college. So we're glad to do that. I'm not seeing any other questions in the chat, Lori. So I think unless you have anything else, we can probably keep moving.
Yes. All right, so now I would like to introduce Dr. Barbara Ellis. She's the Associate Dean in Dental Science, and I believe she's going to talk about our dental assisting program.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. If we could go to the next slide. I would first like to start off to say I'm very excited about our brand new state-of-the-art dental clinic. It is a standalone building. It is down by the South Campus on the corner of College Park and Martin Road. It is, like I said, a state-of-the-art facility. We have the newest of technology for our students. And we have launched our second cohort of students in our 16-week dental assisting program. So we're very excited about this. And just on a side note, I would like to say dental assisting is very dear to my heart. And that is where I got my start as a dental professional. So, one thing that I do like to share with students is to let them know you can go as far as you want in a profession. I started out as a dental assistant. It was a wonderful, wonderful career. I worked with a fantastic dentist, but I always yearned to do a little bit more. So from dental assisting, I went into dental hygiene, became a dental hygienist, and then still wanted more, achieved my bachelor's and master's degree, and eventually my doctorate in education. So the sky's the limit. And as far as the dental world is concerned, you have so many choices. You may stay at a specific area because that is what you enjoy, or you may move up and move on. I chose educator. I love education. I have many former students who have chosen to go and become dentists. I've also got many who really enjoy being dental assistants and dental hygienists as well. So again, sky's the limit, but what a great start for students, especially echoing Lori's thoughts there. If you're interested in the medical profession, don't forget dental's part of medicine. Maybe you don't want to be in a situation where you're in a hospital and you have to deal with life and death. Well, what about dental? What about getting into dental? Yes, you do have to work in the mouth, but maybe that's a nice place for you to take a look at. So our dental assisting program is held at our clinic. It is a hybrid program. So what that means is the lectures are actually online and they are given through our learning platform of Canvas. Students attend lab 2 nights a week. So right now we're running a Tuesday, Thursday night program. It is 16 weeks. It gives students a comprehensive introduction to the profession. So once that 16-week program has complete, then the student is out and they are ready for employment. And I have to tell you, every day we're getting phone calls from local dentists who are in dire need of dental assistants. We have a job board filled with ads that dentists have sent over because they need assistants. We cannot turn them out fast enough for them. So students are learning that introduction to the profession so that they can become chair-side dental assistants. They could be assisting the dentist, they could be assisting a dental hygienist, they may be working up at the front desk. They're learning all of that in the 16-week time frame. The admission criteria, we do have a mandatory attendance for our dental health career workshop, and that's specifically for the dental assisting program. Our next one is actually next Thursday, the 10th at 7 o'clock. It is via Zoom. Students have to have American Heart Association ALS or BLS certification, which is also available through Workforce at Macomb. Criminal background check and drug screen are necessary, and students have to have a current physical and be up to date on their immunizations, as well as have a TB test. And this is very common for the dental profession. It is for protection of the patients, but more importantly, the individual and their team. If we could go to the next slide, please. So as I mentioned, hybrid format. The lectures are all online. The lectures are pre-recorded by our faculty, and our faculty are either dental hygienists and registered dental assistants, or registered dental assistants. Both are in practice. The online lectures, while they are pre-recorded, students have to be diligent. They really have to make sure that they are keeping up with the lectures, keeping up with the work. They do meet with their online instructor once a week in what we call a course huddle, where they can bring forth questions, discuss topics, review items, and prep for quizzes. The labs, again, are in person. They are in our clinic. They are 2 nights a week. So they are Tuesday and Thursday evenings. They start at 5:30. And one of the evenings, which would be a Thursday evening, they do go until 9:55, and that is with the dental materials course. So the 4 courses of the program, we have the foundations of dental assisting. This is teaching all the basics of dental assisting. So we're looking at chair side, we're looking at front desk, we're looking at resume building, interviewing. Infection control and safety in the workplace. This is a totally online. This is a 16-week program. This course itself teaches the student all about infection control. It goes into depth on what the actual products are, what the ingredients are, how they work against the various bacteria and viruses that we're dealing with. And this course, even though it's all online, students are taking this information and they're using it in their lab courses. Dental and oral anatomy, this has a lecture and a lab. It's a 1-hour lab. The objective of this course is students are learning about the anatomy, not just of the mouth, but of the head and neck region. They're also learning the connection between the head and the body, because the head is connected to the body, and we realize that bacteria that's in the mouth is also affecting the rest of the body in our patients. And students are learning about that. Dental materials is just what it sounds like. This is a 12-week program. Again, it has an hour lecture online and a 3-hour lab for 12 weeks. And students are learning the most commonly used dental materials. They are learning how to use these dental materials, how to manipulate these dental materials in our human simulation lab. You can actually see the picture of our human simulator down in the lower corner of the slide. So students learn how to manipulate these materials, and they actually can work on these simulators. Once they're deemed competent on the simulator. Then they go into the clinic and they partner up and work on each other. So they're taking impressions of each other. They are pouring study models. They're making athletic guards. They're making bleaching trays. So they're learning about all these common materials that they will be using once they're gainfully employed in the dental practice. So that's a brief overview. And again, 16-week-long hybrid online lectures, in-person labs at our dental clinic, which again, it's a beautiful facility. And we are located at South Campus on the corner of College Park and Martin Road. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask away, or you can contact me. You will have my contact information sent to you. Thank you.
I'm going to jump in for just a minute. We're going to rearrange the order of our speakers just a little bit to accommodate some of our students' needs. I do want to just put the call out if anyone has questions for Dr. Ellis before we move on. There was one question. Let me just scroll back in my chat here. So one of the questions, I don't know, Barb, that it was specific to yours, but was whether or not the college has testing to help students assist with their career decisions. So I just wanted to answer that real quickly. We certainly have a career services department that is able to help students do testing when they're coming in, whether they're doing one of these continuing education programs or a credit-based program. They can meet with a counselor or an advisor who can talk with them about that and then suggest appropriate testing to help guide them. So that resource is going to be in one of the videos that we send you in the follow-up. You're probably getting tired of me saying that. So that will be coming next week. And then I believe I answered the other question that was in the chat about how to sign up for some of the programs you're hearing today. We are going to talk through that before we're done and then send you a handout as well to help you. So any other questions, feel free to drop them in there. Otherwise, we're going to jump ahead. We were going to do our Q&A for our students a little bit later. We're going to do that now because we've had some situations change. And so I am going to hand off to Patrick Jacobs, who is one of our admissions and outreach coordinators, and let him introduce you to our wonderful students. You're muted, Patrick.
I hate when that happens, but I want to say thank you for everybody for participating today. My name is Patrick. We have two wonderful students here that would like to discuss their journey here at Macomb. So we have Erin McIntosh, who's out of the Health and Public Services, and then Leah Moore. And what I'm going to do is I am just going to ask Erin and Leah if they can actually introduce themselves to everybody and then go ahead and tell us a little bit more about themselves. So Erin, I'm going to start off with you.
Okay, thank you, Patrick. Am I on? I don't. Everybody?
You're here. We can see you and hear you, Erin.
Oh, okay, cool, awesome. All right, so my name is Erin McIntosh. I'm WITS, which is World Instructor Training School alumni, which is a personal training program certification course. It was great. I graduated almost 4 years ago, back in 2018. And my experience there, I had always had a love and drive for the fitness side of things, and I wanted to pursue a career in doing so. And I'm actually at the gym that I train at right now doing this meeting. And we've actually affiliated with WITS since us coming together in the last couple of months, which has been really cool. But it was everything that I really, actually more than I really could have even wished for. You know, at that time it was pre-COVID, so all of our lectures were in person. They still offered a hybrid portion, but my experience, I was in person, hands-on with the lecture, and then we were hands-on in the gym. And you know, the course itself helped me step foot right into the gym as opposed to not, I guess. And yeah, my experience was just really great. I advise anybody to use Macomb for the plethora of programs that they have. I went through the WITS again and it was great. So thank you all.
Great, thank you, Erin. And then Leo, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Sure. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, my name is Leah Moore. I went to the court reporting program at Macomb. I graduated in December 2018. And so I've been working as a court reporter for about 3 years now. I don't know if you want me to keep going or.
Totally up to you. Totally up to you. So this is just an open forum. So we do have questions for both of you that we're just going to ask, and it may be duplicate of what you said already, but we're just going to, keep it in person, and then we'll go from there. So I do want to say we appreciate you being here and speaking to our audience today. So here we go. So and this is just gonna be an open question, and I'm gonna go ahead and let you both go ahead and answer them as you go. So how did you end up choosing your program? What led you to choosing the program that you currently took at Macomb?
Okay, who do we go first? You want me to go
Yeah,
first?
go right ahead.
Ladies
Okay.
first.
Okay. I actually chose Macomb because it was the only court reporting school left in Michigan. And I did have other options. I could have taken an online court reporting program, but I just thought that the idea of going to a school and sitting down with other students and having professors that are also court reporters in Michigan, I just thought that was really important when making the decision to go to school. I didn't really want to do just a big online course with people that I won't ever meet, and that's why I chose Macomb.
Excellent, thank you. And Aaron, what about you?
And yeah, mine were a lot of similar to Leah's there. I learned better in a classroom setting, and there's other certification programs out there. Most of them are all online, and you don't get to do measurements on people in person. You don't get to role play with people per se. As I said, with the WITS program, the lecture portion in the class, and then we had the actual physical portion in the gym with the trainer who was practicing, doing measurements, practicing assessments, warm-ups, cool downs. So to get the whole experience in as quick as we did it, I believe it was an 8-week certification course. And, it's NCCA accredited, which is the stamp that you want to look for on any training program. It's the gold standard of accreditation. So the fact that it was very reasonably priced, actually a little bit cheaper than some other well-known programs out there. And Macomb's always been local to me. I've been in Macomb County my entire life. So I was already, familiar with Macomb. It was kind of like a home base for me as well. So yeah, it was the total package of what I was looking for, and they delivered.
Excellent, thank you. And I just want to let you know for the audience, if you do have any questions for our student panelists, as you are listening to them, feel free to put it in the chat, and then we'll go ahead and attempt to address those questions. If you can't do it today, then we'll follow up with you in our follow-up email on Monday.
There is one question in the chat, Patrick. I don't know if you can see it or not. I just wanted to mention.
Yeah.
I'll just read it for you.
Yes, I appreciate
this
it.
question is for Leah. As a court reporter, do you mind discussing your entry pay, how long it took you to find a job after you graduated? So whatever you feel comfortable sharing there, Leah.
Okay. So when I was in the program at Macomb, we had a few court reporting companies come to our class and kind of recruit almost. Court reporting is in such a high demand. Not many people, there's not a high turnaround for students right now. So when there's new students, they're quick to get scooped up. So I had a job before I even finished the program, and I could start working without a license for, I think it was a couple months. I worked under my company's license before I got fully certified. So I had a job right away. As far as pay, it really varies a lot. I get paid per page. So as much or as little as I want to work, I'm freelance. So I make my own schedule, and I get paid per page and how many attorneys are on the call, or how many people order. So the very first year of court reporting, I waited a little after I finished school. I started in the summer of 2019, and then I had a baby in November, took a maternity leave, came back in January, COVID hit in March. So my first year, but fully court reporting was not full-time whatsoever. And I made $35,000 my first year, and it's only gone up from there. The more I work, the more I make. So if I was full-time, I think I would be looking at 3 times that maybe.
Thanks, Leah. There's
Great,
more
thank
questions
you.
in the chat, Patrick. I don't know if
Yeah,
you can see
I
them. Do
do
you want me
see
to read
that.
them? Okay, I'll let you read them then.
Yeah, no, that's okay. So I don't know, Aaron, did you want to go ahead and respond to that question? Then I'll go ahead and on to the next ones.
Yeah, sure. I'm sorry. Which one was that? I'm sorry, Patrick.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I have to go back. Oh, no, that's just for reporting. I'm just
No,
go ahead and
actually, no, there is a question for Aaron actually too.
Okay, let me
The
see if I can
question
find
is
that.
looking at if you feel comfortable, Aaron, talking about what kind of entry pay where you started in a career with that program.
Okay, yeah. So for me, I actually got my certification back in 2018, and then I was working a good job that I had at the time, and right before I had to recertify, so almost 2 years later before I actually got into the motion of being in the gym setting. So I've been actually training a little over a year now, but coming in, it was, let me see, very low because you start with 0 clients, so you're not making any money. But right now, it only took me about 6 months. Right now, I typically average between 32 and about $40 an hour, and I make my own schedule, and that depends on the gym that you work at. Obviously, the more clients you have, the more money you'll make. I work at Macomb Athletic Club, MAC Gym, here in Mount Clemens, and we have a second location in St. Clair Shores, opening up a third and fourth here before the summertime. So we're definitely expanding very rapidly. And I've trained here. I've been the manager here, personal trainer, director here. So plethora of opportunities, and we're still going strong. But yeah, as far as a system is set up, every gym has a different system, as far as what percentage of the total amount that the client is paying, that the trainer will get. A great gym will get you up to 40%. A super, the most I really heard a gym giving the trainers about 60%. We'll get up to 50% here, which is where I'm at. You could get commission on top of that. So it really is what you make it. And as far as our setup here, we get clients from the gym giving them to us, and we have access to the thousands of members in our database on a daily basis to call and set up our assessments and everything like that. So we're in business for ourselves within the entity of our gym. So it's really cool. It's really cool being in business for yourself and growing it, or not. I would suggest that you do, and tailoring it to your schedule. I'm married and I have 6 kids, so I have a very busy life outside of here. But I'm able to make great pay around the schedule that I'm able to be available. I have great clients, great results from learning great programming. So it's everything that I wanted it to be when I knew I wanted to step into the fitness industry. Again, every gym varies. This is the only gym I've ever been at, and so I'm obviously biased to MAC Gym here. I really don't see a better setup than what we have here, especially having trainers have come from other gyms to train here for the setup that we have. And the ownership is great, management's great. So we'll definitely love answering questions about our gym itself, if anybody has any at a later date or anything like that. But yeah, right now I'm average between about $32, $40 an hour.
Great, thank you. And I know we have other questions in the box, and we are looking at time constraints with Leah. So I just want to be conscious of your time, Leah. And I do want to pose this question to you, and it is, and then we can go back, Aaron, to more additional questions. But I just want to ask this, Leah, is there anything that, any advice you'd like to share with prospective students who are interested in your program, or is anything that you'd like to share with our audiences that maybe we haven't asked you, that that's personal or related to your profession that you'd like to share with the audience?
Sure. The only thing I can advise students of is to practice court reporting is like learning a whole nother language. And the only way to pass the court reporting classes is to pass the speed test. You can't move forward in the program unless you're passing your speed test at 95% accuracy. So the only way you can do that is to practice, and it's just very repetitive until you get there. So now to finish the program, I had to type 225 words a minute at 95% accuracy. And the only way to do that is to practice, practice, practice. Yeah. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. So I've had those days where I've completely wanted to give up and never thought I was gonna, my 160s tests, I never thought I was gonna pass it. I thought there was no way I would ever be able to type 225 words a minute. Didn't see it happening. And just the encouragement I got from the director of our program, Elizabeth, and the teachers that did this themselves. They went to court reporting school. They've been court reporters in Michigan, in courts, in freelance, and really you just have to keep typing. The only way to get faster is just to keep doing it. And yeah, I love it now. I'm freelance court reporter, so I work for a company, but I'm technically self-employed, so I make my own schedule. Right now, I have 2 young kids, so I work Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays, and it's usually 2 jobs a day, which is depositions. And right now we're doing all of our depositions from home. So I work from home and I love it. And yeah, I think it's really cool to do the depositions on Zoom because I'm able to take more jobs a day if I want to. And it's really as much or as little as I wanted to work, I could. If I wanted to work 5 days a week, taking jobs every day, the income, the amount of money you can make is just as much as you want, really. Was there another part to that question?
Yeah, just is there anything that you want to share with our audience that maybe we haven't asked you before, that maybe an experience or just anything about you or Macomb or the program that inspired you that you just want to share with everybody? And it's okay if you don't, but if there is, feel free to share with us.
Okay, so I never heard of court reporting, and my aunt has been a court reporter for 35 years. And once I got out of high school, I thought I wanted to be a nurse. So I went to Michigan State, got in the nursing program, and realized, well, this isn't for me, and I'm paying for college myself, and this is really expensive. So I came home and moved back in with my parents and just kind of didn't know what I wanted to do. I got a job at a nursing home and didn't really love the medical field, and went to my aunt and I was talking to her about it, and she's a court reporter, and I knew she worked at the court. I just didn't know what she did there. So she was like, come follow me around. And she's like, this is really a good career for someone that's like into gaming or like, just, I don't know how to describe it, but if you're like into video games and you want like a challenge, that the court reporting is really that, like making sure you get every word and every stroke and 225 words a minute. It's just like intense, but it's also, once you get it, it's really fun. So once my aunt kind of described it to me, I found Macomb and it all started from there.
Wonderful. Thank you. So I do know that, again, you're on time constraint. So if you do have to leave us, feel free to leave us. If not, then stay on as long as you can. Let's see.
Patrick, I do just want to mention we probably need to maybe about 3 more minutes. Yep, about 3 more minutes so that we can get back to our last speaker.
Okay, then I'll leave it to Aaron. I'll let Aaron answer that last question then. It's kind of a 2-part question, but what advice would you like to share to prospective students who are interested in the program? And then is there anything else that you would like to share in your experience or your journey to Macomb, or what led you here that we haven't, or any questions that we haven't asked yet that you'd just like to share with our audience today?
Yeah, sure thing, Patrick. Thank you. I would highly suggest you just stay the course. It's how can I put it? It's something that anybody can get certified. Anybody can get the piece of paper to say that you're legally able to train people. But somebody mentioned it earlier in the meeting. I'm paraphrasing that they can train people who care about people. So when you truly care about people and you look at the numbers that America's in as far as diabetes and obesity and things like that, and you really have a passion for helping to bring those things down to help add years to people's lives and lives to their years, then this is the route for you. Whether you want to do it online or in person. I love in person. I love meeting different people. Leah's a court reporter. I see a circuit court judge in here every day. That's one of the people I wave to. One of my clients is his lead prosecutor. I meet people from Macomb County Court all of the time, and it's really cool, the people that you get to meet here. And but as far as my journey to Macomb and what I would say about that, like I said, Macomb was always local to me, so I've always known about Macomb. Leah's testimony was really great. She got to the big college, I don't 50,000 plus students, something like that, and it can be a lot. I've never experienced a big university, but trades aren't spoken about as much as they should be, and certification programs as much as they should be. And I support my family of 7, well, it's 8 of us total, solely off of what I do here, and have a passion for it. And it's nothing to be looked down upon, that it's not a 4-year thing. And if you want to advance into something like that, and then that's cool too. But Macomb's great. They have ever since I graduated back in 2007 from high school, they've added so many programs. I've stayed on like the newsletter list ever since I was enrolled back all of that time ago. So for whatever program you're looking for, if Macomb has it, I would advise for it, just because, not just because of my experience, but the experience of other people I'm close to who have walked that trail at Macomb and seen success as I have. And continue to be a student of the game, whatever be a student of your profession, whatever it is that you do choose to do, wherever you choose to do it at, always grow. You're never have a mindset of, I'm going to get here and then coast. If you have a maintenance mindset, you'll find somewhere to hang your hat and get passed up on. So continue to learn, continue to progress, and do your best all the time.
Thank you so much, Aaron. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Amy, how are we doing on time? I want to say thank you for both of my speakers. I think Leah stepped out already, but I want to say thank you. She comes back and watches this. And again, I will express my gratitude to her on Monday. Thank you both, Aaron and Leah. I hope that everything goes well within your professional career. And if you choose to come back to Macomb, we're always here. We're the learning hub of the community. So feel free to come back and utilize our services for featuring your career, or if you want to touch up on additional education. But Amy, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And Aaron, I know you're at work, so you can't probably see the chat, but I want you to know that folks are putting in the chat how much they appreciate your positive words, words of wisdom. That's a direct quote, and I think people really appreciate hearing your perspective as a student. Are you taking new clients, Aaron? I feel like we should put a plug in here in case people want to be a new client for you. They could.
Oh yeah,
gym,
yeah.
right?
I've got a few slots open. I'm the veteran here, so I usually have a pretty packed schedule. But
right.
I get everybody I can. Mac Gym, Macomb Athletic Club. Our number is really easy: 586-493-9393.
I'm putting it in the chat. We'll put it in there, and maybe you'll get some new clients. Thank you so much for being here today. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
We're going to jump back on our agenda now. I'm going to hand it over to Doreen to talk a little bit about our business and IT areas.
Thank you. I'm Doreen Vanderzippy. I am the program coordinator for Workforce and Continuing Ed Business and Information, or BIT as we like to call it. I'm very excited to be here and to share with you some of BIT's short-term training programs that will assist students to learn a skill and earn a higher wage. We want to make sure that there are options for students who may not have an interest in traditional college way. We want to provide these students with options to learn those skills that can assist in a higher earning wage. These programs are used as stepping stones to earn that higher wage while they may be pursuing other goals. I'm going to go over 3 of our programs, but before I start on this one, administrative assistant, I want to touch on an entrepreneurship program. This program's not for all. Entrepreneurship would not be for all students. It's for that student that has that entrepreneurial spirit, maybe like our previous speaker. The entrepreneurship program empowers students to start a successful business. They're equipped with essential skills they need to launch businesses or their business, including how to develop a business plan, how to market their business, how to avoid pitfalls while building confidence in their small business financial skills. These skills, or this program, is a series of 6 courses. They are virtual online courses. They take about 10 weeks, and they're instructed by our full-time faculty here at the college, marketing, accounting, business. And when they complete that, they should have the skills, or they should have some skills or some at least knowledge to go out and start that entrepreneurship endeavor. But Administrative Assistant Program. This program allows students to earn a Macomb Community College certificate and set themselves apart from other applicants. This program will provide the students with those traditional entry-level job skills, in an office environment workplace. The cost of this program is about just over $800, and that's for books and tuition. The length is short. It's one of our shorter term ones. It's about an 8-week program. You can complete it in 1 semester, and it consists of about 4 courses: professionalism, customer service, communication, and organization. The job growth prediction on this is the statistics I took was from the U.S. Bureau of Labor and Statistics. They predict that this is going to grow faster than average, about 10%, over a period from 2020 to 2030 nationwide. And they project about 100,000 or more job openings in this same period. The earning potential you can see at $18.63 an hour at the state level, and $19.33 is regionally. So somewhere in there it would be the average entry-level position, at average entry-level hourly rate. Once students have completed this administrative assistant program, they will have basic skills to enter the administrative support workplace. Next slide, please. The next program is Workplace Computing Program. This is also a certificate program that you'll earn a certificate from Macomb Community College. And this program is for learners who are seeking a solid basic understanding of Microsoft applications. The need for these basic skills is essential in almost any workplace nowadays, as today's job skills also are more dependent upon this software or software in general. So this program costs about $1,500 with tuition and books. It can be completed in 2 semesters. It's about 20 weeks of classes, and so it doesn't really fit in 1 semester unless you have a really excited student. They might want to take maybe 2 classes at once. You could complete it in the 1 semester, but again, we make sure that we give you 20 weeks. So if you need the full 2 semesters, take the 2 semesters. The 4 courses, as you can see, are Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Access. The job growth potential is pretty much the same as the administrative assistant. It's projected to grow faster than average and projected of 100,000 jobs or more in the next 10 years. The earning potential, if it was just this workplace computing certificate, is a little lower at $17.14 for the state and $17.54 for the Macomb regional area. But what we tell them, and we kind of do what Health does, we'd like them to stack them. We feel that, and this is how we promote it here, is if they take the administrative assistant and a workplace computing, you're going to have a great set of skills to be able to market yourself out to jobs, because the 2 of these together go hand in hand. So the cost of 2 of them would be $2,300 in tuition and books, and the length, of course, would be 2 semesters, so it would be 28 weeks of classes. Next slide. Court reporting. Of course, you just heard Leah talk about her experience, and we have had this program here for a long time. But if you don't know what a court reporter is, this is a nice little video. If you could play that, please, and we can learn a little bit about it.
This is a typical courtroom scene. You're pretty familiar with it, right? Well, are you familiar with which of these people has a career so in demand that there will be thousands of job openings in it over the next few years? Nope, not the judge, not the lawyer either. It's the court reporter. The what? A court reporter, also known as a stenographer, transcribes the spoken word at 225 words per minute using a stenotype machine. 225 words per minute. Stenographers provide verbatim transcripts and real-time captioning. from exciting venues like courtrooms, schools, sports stadiums, and even home. And some of them even get to do so internationally. Electronics can't ensure or testify to the accuracy of the words or punctuation they're capturing.
Sorry, I didn't quite get that.
Making court reporters indispensable. Because it is a lucrative career with many paths that allow you to choose where and how often you'd like to work, court reporting is the perfect career for our diverse community. To get started with your court reporting career, find a program near you at ncra.org/schools.
Thanks. Next slide, please. Court reporting program, Macomb Community College has offered this court reporting program for over 25 years. We are the only approved Macomb is the only program in Michigan that's approved by National Court Reporters Association. NCRA is the organization that did that video, but also that administers the national accreditation that you'll need and that you'll be prepared to take after you successfully complete the program. Our program is more affordable than any online court reporting programs. I checked into other programs that are accredited by NCRA, and they're either at other states, but they also start anywhere from $10,000 to $18,000. So you will have a better value at Macomb. Next slide, please. So the cost. This program is, of course, a little higher than the others. Its tuition and books are about a little over $5,000. But it also has an added cost, and the added cost is the machine that you're going to need. The machines can be rented by semester, about $100 a semester. They can be purchased used from $500 to $1,000. Now, Elizabeth, who Leah talked about, is our court reporting program coordinator for this. She is also a court reporter herself, and she is one of the instructors or kind of oversees all the instructors of the courses. So she is a champion for this program and very, very knowledgeable. And she helps the students with things like how do I decide what type of machine do I need? How can I get it? And she is a valuable resource in this. The length of the program is a little longer than normal. It's about 2.5 to 3 years to successfully complete 10 classes. And like Leah said, you have to pass the speed to get to the next one. So that's why we say successfully. This program, once COVID hit, the program did turn to a remote. So after Leah graduated, we did move this to a remote classes. And they stumbled through it, but it's via Zoom, so it's remote, it's live and in person. It's not virtual where you're doing your own thing. So you're able to see your instructor. They're able to see you and communicate. But it's been very successful moving it to remote. In fact, we've actually grown the program now that it's remote. Even the instructors, who are, as Leah stated, court reporters themselves, have found it wonderful use of their time to be able to instruct virtually, as opposed to taking the trip from, maybe downtown at court, or I think we have one that's in Lansing that they couldn't physically be here if it was on ground. An internship is required with court reporting, but that's built into the program. It's your last class, one of your last skills class involves an internship with it, which is about 20 hours of court transcription and 20 hours of freelance. The pathways after completion, of course, you're prepared to take that NCRA test, which is required, as you heard, to be working in this profession. Potential jobs, of course, as court reporter at state, local, federal level, closed captioning, or freelance transcription. The job growth prediction is captioners are going to be high demand because the FCC is requiring expanded use of closed captioning for television, internet, and other technology. The Bureau of Labor and Statistics predicts there's an increased need for captioners. And as you heard in that video, and as you've heard from the testimony of our student, jobs are usually, they're usually recruiting them. You can also see from the slide that Michigan's one of the top 5 in the job vacancies and growth rate for this. So this is a very high demand area. So earning potential. I pulled data from Bureau of Labor and Statistics. I think Leah's is much more accurate in what she's showing, but the Bureau of Labor and Statistics estimates for an average earnings at state levels $25.39 and regionally $39.60. As you can see from Leah, she can make as much money as she wants or as little based on her availability. So it's definitely a great program for people that if they want to put it into it and put the skill in it, you can do very well for yourself. And if there's any more questions about specifics of this class, Elizabeth's information is located here on the slide, what you'll be getting later. Next slide, please. So BIT and all of WCE's goal is to encourage students to learn to earn. We want students to come to Macomb Community College and learn that skill. We want them to go out and earn that higher wage. And because technology is growing at such a rapid pace, this will require updating or learning of new skills. We want that student to return back to Macomb and advance their skills. The advanced skills that BIT offers are project management, digital marketing, advanced Excel, data analytics, and Power BI. Those are all skills that people will need going forward in a lot of these business jobs or IT jobs. So if that is it, are there any questions that anyone needs me to answer?
So I'll just put the call out. If folks have questions, feel free to drop those in the chat about our business and IT programs. And Doreen, maybe I know people are getting tired of me of asking this question, but I think it's important. So as folks are sitting here and thinking about their students, can you tell us a little bit about the types of students you think come in doing well in these programs? And again, do they have to come from that type of a background if they're coming from a traditional high school program?
No, they do not. We have a wide range of students. We have students who either are coming straight out of school, or we also have students that maybe have gone down a different path, maybe are trying to upskill. And we have students that are younger, we have students that are older. Business is in IT is a unique area where you'll get people upskilling, or you'll get people that want to earn that higher wage. They want to be a court reporter. They didn't know about it. So we definitely we don't have a small little target of students. It's across the board of what we have.
Okay. And we do have one question in the chat. For students coming into your programs, is it a safe assumption to say they need to have like excellent spelling and writing skills? Is that a really important prerequisite for students to be successful in your programs?
Certain ones, yes, of course. I think at anything in the business, you need to have great communication and great grammar skills. It doesn't mean it can't be learned. It doesn't mean it won't be promoted in any of these programs. But definitely something, a skill set that you would need to need. And I also wanted to make a note. I think Patrick talked about ESL or something. I think it was a question that was asked about English language students or English language learner students in programs. We do have an English language continuing ed classes that we offer every semester for that student who maybe needs to have some more conversational skills, or I think one of them we have is Grammar 1, which they learn more about grammar and writing and reading. So that's definitely a skill set that if you think a student would need to help boost their English language, definitely something continuing ed in BITS particular offers.
Thank you, Doreen. That's a really great point to make. And I imagine that's relevant for some folks for the populations that they serve here. So I don't see any other questions in the chat for you. Again, folks, know that you're going to get contact information for everyone who's here today. So if you are relaxing this weekend and you think of a really great question for Doreen, you're going to have her contact information on Monday. You'll be able to reach out to her. Yes. I think we can keep moving then. Thanks, Doreen. Well, welcome, Gail.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Amy. We're in a bit of a time crunch, but I'm the person that's going to give most of you what you've been really waiting for with all of this fabulous information that you've received today. And that is, how can you register? Where can you register? What kind of funding is available? So I try my best here today to, provide that in a very small amount of time. Going back to the success stories of our students, Aaron and Leah, we certainly can see, all of their passion as well as their persistence. And with that, we want any students that have that same earnings or drive to be able to go into our program. So our website is wce.macomb.edu. Basically, when counselors or students arrive to that webpage, they're going to be invited by a beautiful, colorful flyer there that gives you details on 3 areas. And that is just pretty much creating a profile, searching for your classes, registering, and then, of course, checking out. I have some other information as it relates to grants. and funding that is available. This is an opportunity now for students to have their tuition as well as their books paid for in full. And this is in part due to a scholarship, not a scholarship opportunity, but a grant opportunity that is from the state of Michigan and Macomb County, a collaboration between the two. And that collaboration has made it possible for $1.4 million to really flow into this region so that students on a fast track can get into these programs, get the training they need, and move out into the high demand jobs in the areas of healthcare, engineering, advanced technology, as well as in transportation. As we saw earlier, some of you may not have been on the call with us. We have marine and we have truck driving. So I'd like to be able to tell you just a few nuggets about the tuition assistance because it's very critical. This particular grant will end April 2023. We are currently in the application process. Students are in classes. Applications are being taken every day. We encourage you to go to the website that you see here on this page, macomb.edu/WCE tuition assistance. When you arrive to that page, it is a very short application process, nothing that will take you longer than 3 minutes. At the bottom of that page, there are some contact individuals there as well who will be happy to answer any questions that you have. We encourage our counselors to reach out directly to us here at the college at Workforce Dev, Workforce, all one word, Dev, D-E-V, at macomb.edu. Our students who are here, who are interested, or other individuals who are participating today, you certainly can reach out to the individuals who are at the bottom of the page. The criteria for the grant would be Macomb residents in the low to median range levels of income. And the other thing that I wanted to say about the grant is, of course, it's ongoing and it's moving fast. So we encourage you to definitely take advantage of it and jump in with 2 feet. We're going to make these flyers available to you in the chat. And as Amy has mentioned for us here, it's going to be emailed as well. And thank you so much for your time. And now, without further ado, we're going to put it back into the hands of our career readiness and counselor consultant, Sarah Strobeck.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for being here today. As we bring things to a close, I just wanted to thank all of our partners at Macomb Community College. I always felt in my work as a career counselor and a school counselor that there's such an just not enough knowledge for us as counselors that there are many different avenues available to students within a community college system. And so I was excited to partner with Amy and her team at Macomb to really put a spotlight on these incredible opportunities for our students and to just elevate these opportunities so that we can make sure that our students are aware of them. Maybe their parents are interested in secondary careers. And so I'm just very grateful for all of the information that was provided today. I want to put a little personal plug out. If anybody wants to meet with me separately to talk about funding sources, I have a lot of experience in using different approaches for students to access these programs through Michigan Works, through the Young Professionals Program. So please reach out to me personally through an email and I will connect with you and teach you about that process. Because unfortunately, as you know, these programs are not TIP and Pell eligible, but as the team at Macomb mentioned, there are multiple funding avenues. So we don't want that to be something that will sway your students into not accessing these incredible programs. So just wanted to jump in really quick and ask that you reach out to me, and I'd be very happy to teach you about that program in order to help your students access the funding for these programs, in addition to all the grant opportunities mentioned previously. So without further ado, Amy Adamski is going to bring us to a close and talk about your sign out procedures.
Well, I hope that this, and based on what I'm seeing in the chat, I hope that this has been helpful for you. I know from the outside looking in, Macomb is a huge place. And I know sometimes, even with everything we've told you today, it can be overwhelming to make sure you're getting your student in the right direction. So what I want you to know is that much like your students, I hope that these contacts we're going to provide you with will help you navigate that process so you can help your students navigate. Again, the difference between this continuing education channel for your students, they don't need to fill out our regular Macomb application. They don't have to complete steps to be admitted. They're going to go to that website that I showed you, which does link directly off our website as well, and just look for the courses they want, put them in their cart, sign up and go. We will also make sure that in the follow-up you get next week, links to everything that you've seen here today, more information about the funding resources, because we know that is such an important key for your students. We know that that can be a big barrier. I did put in the chat, but for those of you helping Wayne County students, Detroit Promise is focused on Pell eligible programs. So these programs are not eligible for Detroit Promise either. What I'm going to do, but don't do it quite yet because it's not 11 o'clock, friends. I'm going to put in the chat. And if you want to go to the last slide, you can, Samantha. So this, if you got your phone and you don't want to take your computer elsewhere, you can use this QR code to go to our exit survey. You can also use the link that I put in the chat to go to the exit survey. It's 5 quick questions. Sorry, they're open-ended because we really want some great feedback from you to know how we can help you with your students. What can we provide to you that we maybe didn't provide today, and just help us better understand how we can continue to serve you and your students.
Amy, can I jump in really fast? I forgot
absolutely.
to mention, everybody, you're going to get an email with your sketch application. So that'll be sent to your email. So look for that. And additionally, MacombEngage.org is my career readiness website. This recording will also be available on that website. We're going to just inundate you with these resources so you can get them in front of your students and your parents very quickly here. But I just wanted to make sure you're aware of that.
Thank you, Sarah. Good point. Yeah, so this recording, we will get to Sarah. It'll be on that website. We'll make sure that gets shared out with you. So thank you for being here today. Thank you for the good work that you do to serve students. I know you are tired. I know you probably don't get all the support you need, and you probably don't feel appreciated many days. And so I just want to say that we see you and we hear you, and we appreciate what you are doing to help guide students on what we know is a very difficult journey for some. So reach out to us, let us know how we can support you. It's Friday, so have a great weekend, and thanks so much for being here with us today.